Looking at gold, the first thing that I did was a top-down analysis. I trade purely market structure and price action, so knowing where we're at within the trend is very important, especially from a higher time frame perspective. And to explain a little bit more, I trade by confluence. So every confluence that I have is worth 10% of that trade's grade. The weekly and the 1 hour were in sync, so that was already worth 20% of my grade. And the reason why I mentioned those two specifically first was because the weekly I use for higher time frame direction. I know I mentioned this before, but I'm not marking any POIs on the weekly or the 1 hour. When I say POI, I mean interest, so I'm not looking at any areas to trade from off of these time frames. I'm just literally using them for directional bias so I can go in the lower time frames to get my entry whenever a setup presents itself. So after I did my top-down analysis looking at the weekly and the 1 hour, I went on to my entry time frame to also make sure that structure was in sync with the higher time frame. And looking at market structure during London and pre-New York, you can see that we was still bearish at the time until we have our first shallow breakup structure. And at that point, I was just waiting for a decent retracement because up to that point, we was getting these small little one candle pullbacks. I like to trade off of major structure points, so these one candle pullbacks were not valid for me to trade from. So that's why I had to wait for a higher high. Once price gave me that clear higher high and we had a decent retracement, that's when I could draw out my fib and then wait for a retracement back to my golden zone, which is the 618 to 764 area. We had a nice clean retracement down, and once I saw price respect my golden zone, that's when I was looking to take my break of candle entry type. I had my stop loss below structure, and my first TP was that higher high area. Once I started to see price break that resistance zone or a higher high area, I then decided to move my stops to break even, making the trade risk free, and then I just let it rock from there. Unfortunately, this was a break even setup for me, but this is where your psychology comes into play because I don't take re-entries with my strategy really. So once I saw price came and stopped me out at break even, I literally just closed the charts and got off for the day and called it that. But that's all I got for today's video, so I hope y'all did enjoy, and I'm out. Peace.